Alright, it's CNT120, Chapter 4. We have moved on to the ARP protocol, Address Resolution Protocol. I put a little reminder over here that this is an IP version 4 protocol. We won't see this with IP version 6. ARP is here at our network layer. This is there to help map IP addresses to MAC addresses. So this ARP is going to work in conjunction with IPs to help build a table of IP address to MAC address mappings. Now remember, when I go to send something, I need to have both the IP and the MAC to be able to send it across my network. Very similar to if I'm going to mail you a letter, I need your name on it and I need your address. If I just put the address on, it's going to come to your house, and someone in your house is going to pick it up and say, is this for me? Is this for my brother? Is this for my sister? Is this for my mom? Is this for my dad? Is this for my dog? Is this for my cat? Okay, so if I put your name on and then address, I know it'll get to you. Well, in a network, to be able to get data through, I need both the MAC and the IP. So it is possible that I will get an IP and not have the MAC. Example, if I go to type in a web page, www.hack.edu, a DNS server will respond to me and give me the IP address. So now I have the IP, but I don't have the MAC. Well, when that situation occurs, ARP is going to get kicked in. ARP is going to get used to get me that MAC address I don't have. And to do that, ARP is going to broadcast. It's going to broadcast out going, anybody know the MAC address for this IP? And hopefully it learns it and actually puts that in a table called an ARP table. And that way we're keeping some IP address to MAC mappings so we don't have to broadcast all the time. Now, the only catch with these tables is they are dynamic. It does not stay forever. So there will be a time I might have to re-ask for it, but if I load the hack web page now and I turn around and load it a couple minutes from now, I should not have to ask for that MAC address again. I have that already in my table. That's the whole point behind that. Here's an example of an ARP table. And let's take a look at my own ARP table. So I'm going to look at ARP on my computer. So I'm going to pull up my command prompt here, and I'm going to do ARP-A here and see my ARP table. Now, mine is very small. I'm connected to a very small network right now, so I have not learned a lot. But you still get the idea here of this IP address is mapped to this MAC address. And the bigger the network and the more connections you have, the more of these that will fill in. Well, let's see if we can generate some of this ARP traffic that I might get some more entries here, as well as see some of the ARP protocol. So let me open up my Wireshark here. I'm going to try to start a new session. Okay. And let's try to generate a little traffic. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do a ping to something like google.com. And I'm even going to try back here in the background. I'm going to try to open up a new web page over here, and I'll go to something like Hack, or I'll turn around and go to Google or something, just to try to generate some traffic that hopefully my computer is generating some ARP traffic here in the background. Okay, now that that's been done, I'm going to stop this. Let's go back to my ARP table here, ARP-A. I don't think it got any bigger because all my traffic's going through my gateway here, so it's still mapping that IP to that MAC address. However, I might have gotten some ARP traffic up here, so let's do a little ARP filter. And I did not. Bummer. I have just basically that simple gateway out there. Let me try some other traffic real quick. And let me try. I was hoping I would have gotten some ARP there for you to see. Let me try some real quick. Let's do telnet. I'm going to do this real quick. We'll do a new session there. Let's try to generate some different traffic. We'll do telnet to telehack.com. Oops, let me do it this way. We'll do over here. We're going to do... Yeah, we're captioning. Okay, good. Let's do telnet to telehack.com. And that's going to generate some different traffic. So I'm hoping that running in the background would have generated an ARP for me. Yes, here we go. Okay. Good, good, good. All right. So, now that I have that, let me close this out in the background. And here we go. Okay. So, on this one, we're going to take a look. And we'll take a look at one of these here. Here's a request that's gone out. Here's an ARP request coming from, looks like one of the computers in our house at present. This is broadcasting out saying, hey, I'm looking for this IP, tell this node, if you will. So if I look at my ARP header here, this actually is a request. Here's the sender MAC address, the MAC address of the sending computer and the sending IP, so one of the IPs of the device in my house. It's trying to find the IP address of my gateway, the MAC address of my gateway, and here's the target MAC. Look at that. It's all zeros. It's a blank. So it's basically saying, hey, everybody, please pay attention to me. Here's my layer 2 broadcast. Everybody pay attention to me. I got a question for you. Here's me sending, and I'm trying to get to this IP. Does anybody know it? And it kind of puts all zeros there like a blank, almost like a, hey, can anybody fill this in for me? And hopefully I have a response back. Is this a reply back? No, that's still the request. Here's an announcement. So here, hopefully, no, we didn't capture long enough. So if we would have captured a little bit longer, we would hopefully send the reply back. But that ARP is just that. It's trying to find, does anybody know this MAC address for this IP? That's what ARP is all about. Now, there's your ARP table, as we said, and there's our ARP protocol. And my there's ARP. There's matching the I have the IP and I need the MAC address. Okay. As we move on to NDP, Neighbor Discovery Protocol, I almost said network. Neighbor Discovery Protocol. This is essentially a IP6 thing. This is here. ARP is helping with ARP and ICMP are helping with what networks are out there. IP6 is going to learn this through the neighbor discovery protocol, neighbor discovery process, if you will. It's there to help try to learn these things so we're not broadcasting all the time. So with this one, there is messages that go out to say, hey, I am here, here's my information, etc. So it's a way to try to get rid of these broadcasts that were happening with IP4. Now, again, I don't have a network connection with IP6 right now because my service provider does not do that. So I'm going to rely on my packet tracer here. Here was this IP6 network I built for our 125 guys. Here was my sniffer from previously. And I had just ICMP in here. Let's edit our filters and let's add to that. Let's add this neighbor discovery protocol. I'm going to put that in. And I'm going to generate this ping again as well. There's actually an NDP coming in, but I'm going to generate a new ping here too to generate some traffic through the network. So here was this IP. I'm going to go over to this computer over here, and we're going to do a ping to that IP and generate some more traffic as well through my network. So I should see a couple different packets in my packet sniffer. So if I go back to my sniffer now, I do see some NDPs and I see some pings. Well, let's look at these NDPs real quickly. So here, as I take a look here, here's my IP6 header. I'm going to keep going down here. This is a router advertisement. This is saying, hey, I'm a router over here, etc. If I look at some of these are probably similar as well. Here's another router advertisement. Here probably is another router advertisement. Okay, so this is a way to kind of advertise, the router's advertising what's there so we don't have to be broadcasting for it. And if I look a little closer on this, if I look a little closer on the IP6 header, I'll find this is coming from the router, but the destination is FF02. That's a multicast. So instead of broadcasting this out, this is multicasting out. So this whole NDP is there to try to cut down on all these broadcasts that were happening with IP4 and do some directed neighbor advertising, if you will, if you want to think of it that way. Hey, I'm out here, here's a router, here, put this in your table, or learn this, I'm over here, that sort of thing. That is something unique to IP version 6, your neighbor discovery protocol.